welcome to this edition of Crystal Spot Podcast. I am so excited to have our guest, who is our fall national feature, Anisa Fowler, a musician, gospel singer, and really my new favorite person as one of our guests for this new year. If you guys have not seen this spread in the Spot magazine, go online, check it out. Let me know. I will mail you some. But you are killing this. Look, like amazing.
Thank you.
Everyone who picks up this magazine and I visually watch them scroll through it, I was like, whoa, it's stunning.
Wow.
Stunning,
Wow.
stunning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I am so glad to have you on the show. We kind of met. This is our first time meeting in even virtual world.
Right,
You
right.
were submitted to me as a nomination to be in the magazine, and I was so thankful that you were willing to share a lot with us about your musical journey and your life coming from Trinidad to New York. And just can you tell my listeners a lot more about you, because I think they were intrigued and they want to know more.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Crystal. This is definitely an honor. It's a privilege to be here to share this platform with you and your amazing listeners. I'm a woman first, I'm just a woman, like excited to be feminine, excited to be female. And I love the Lord. I love God with every fiber of my being. I'm a mom of three. I have a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
Oh,
So my
wow.
house is always very loud, very, very loud. And I'm a worship leader. I sing gospel music, and I do praise and worship at two different locations in Queens, New York. And it's literally every fiber of my being is about giving God praise. Even in the way that I mother, it's about pleasing him. So that's me.
I love it. And you came into my life as I was kind of going through a spiritual revolution in my own life. And it was
Mm,
amazing when Brandy reached out to me about you, because I listened to your song Covered and I listened to your stuff on Spotify, and I was like, wow, like I didn't grow up in a gospel type of church where I had worship, and now I'm in a worship, very heavy worship group church. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I love this. Like I'm telling our
Yeah.
worship leaders, like, have you heard this song? So I just think that that's so inspirational. In these years we've been in with COVID and anxiety and kids stressing through a lot of struggles of changes in their lifestyle, to have that God to lean back on, like to have that faith.
Absolutely. And I think it's everything. And for me, there's so many things that people can choose to lean on.
Mm,
And the outcome isn't always great. If you're leaning on alcohol, the outcome isn't going to be great. If you're leaning on, sex, if you're leaning on just anything outside of God,
yes.
you're subject to anything. And so I find it to be one of the best things to lean on. And when we released Covered, the intention was to give everyone a word that would be the anthem for them,
I
to
love
to
it.
to yell, to scream over all the chaos and over all the noise in our lives, to say he's got me covered.
I love it. I didn't even know what direction this conversation was going, but I'm so inspired by it, because I'm gonna definitely listen to it, and I'll put the link below wherever site you want me to promote. We'll put that in this podcast, because I think it's so important, especially as the world is changing so fast around us. There's so much
It
change, but
is.
God is still steady. Like,
Yes.
and He knows.
Yes.
My friend always says He knows the longitude and the latitude of the direction you're going, so don't ever question it. And I'm like, I think
Yes.
that having the success you've had in a genre that maybe in this new world is not as popular, I think it's a real testimony of how your words and your music and your voice reaches across all aisles. And
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because when you think of all the genres of music that exist, there are so many others that I could choose that are a bit more popular, maybe a bit more financially rewarding and all of that. But I really feel like I owe God me. I
yeah,
owe it to him that I give back to him the gifts and talents that he's given to me. And it isn't to say that people that are in other genres don't love God, but for me personally, I just know that the words that come out of my mouth have to inspire people through his word.
Yes.
And I talk about my life. I talk about my testimony. I talk about all the things that I've been through, from, dropping out of high school to having a kid before wedlock to a divorce, and just so much chaos, really, when you
Yes.
think about it, has happened in my life. But that constant that you talk about, that
Hmm.
constant is God. And I feel like I owe it to him, whether things are crazy or not, to give back in that way. So I choose gospel music because I think it's what I owe him.
Well, and it's basically your way of reaching people in their most vulnerable places, because we all
Yeah.
have some fears. Like, I'm also a mother of three. It's ironic that we both have three kids, and pretty,
Really?
yes, I've got 23, 16, and 15, or 17 and 15. Don't tell her I didn't know her age.
Okay. First of all, for anybody that does not know what Crystal looks like, she looks 23, so she's not telling us the truth. You should not have a 23-year-old child.
I tell her don't be telling people her age out here in these streets. But going through a divorce, and it sounds like we have some similar, but as women, we experience so many things. We go from, exploring our careers and professions, and we become a mother, and we become a wife, and we have all these roles. And a lot of times it's getting back to what your purpose is. And I felt that in my life, the last 5 or 6 years has been really about exploring how to walk with God and walk in the purpose that he's put upon me. And it sounds like that's what you've been doing with your music, is saying
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, the pandemic really, it was this kind of shutdown that you could have either isolated and found yourself in a pit of depression, or
Mhm.
you could have kind of locked away with God, and
Yeah.
he gets a chance to talk to you, to kind of communicate with you. What is it that you're going to kind of build up and focus on in this period of silence? That this doesn't have to mean that you have to be sad or you have to be lonely. It's a period for us to take advantage of. And that's how I kind of took it. And I really took advantage of that. I connected with Our New Records, who's the label that I signed to right at the top of the pandemic in 2019. And we've just been hitting the road running. And this music is so about just screaming at the top of our lungs that God is in control, regardless of all the chaos that's going on around us. And for everybody, it isn't just this pandemic,
Mhm.
there's so many personal pandemics that
Yeah.
we're all facing, that we're all dealing with, whether it's financial, emotional, psychological, relational. There's so many things that's going on. And I feel like every single one of the songs on this EP that I sing really kind of speaks to anything that you could be going through, that God reigns and that he's just in control of it all.
Well, you mentioned covered part of your mission, and that was for people just to be screaming out the words. And what was the inspiration behind You Rain?
So Urain happened
Oh,
first.
yeah.
Yeah, Urain happened first. And it was, we covered wasn't even written at the time that we released Urain. Urain
Uh-huh.
was an old song that I did with a group a long time ago. And I'm like, I want to sing something a little bit more up tempo. I want to kind of bring a little bit of joy. There was a lot of worry and fear
Mhm.
going on when I released Urain at the end of 2019. I mean, there were freezer trucks, meat trucks with bodies in them.
Yes,
It
you're in
was
New York. You were in the heat of
crazy.
it. Yes,
Yeah,
part
it
of it
was
all.
absolutely insane. And so there had to be something that people could latch onto,
Mhm.
because it felt like COVID was reigning. It felt like anxiety and fear and depression and all of those things were reigning. But I had to remind people that God reigns,
Yes.
even in the midst of all of that. So that was really the song that kind of catapulted everything. And we prayed about it and we said, you know what, let's release this one that people got kind of a little bit of a bop, and
Yeah.
they can have some joy in the
Mhm.
midst of what seemed to be very, very sad.
I think it was right on time. Like I said, God's always
Yeah.
right. He knows the longitude and the latitude. He knows where you're going.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. So, and I know in the article you mentioned some gospel singers who really inspire you. what is one of your, when you're having a day, and I know you probably listen to your own music, but who do you listen to and who do you turn to for some worship?
It's so crazy that because I think a lot of artists don't listen to themselves, but I listen to myself all the
Well, there you
time.
go. Speak it in existence, girl.
It's crazy. And I really do. But Tasha Cobbs is one of those artists that I think she is just the epitome of worship.
Mhm.
And when I kind of want to get into that vein, I will certainly turn on Tasha Cobbs. I think that there are a lot of songs that have messages in there that remind me. There's this one song that talks about eyes haven't seen and ears haven't heard,
Oh, I
and
listen to that
what
song almost
God's
every
about to do.
day.
Yeah.
With the Nicki Minaj remix? I'm getting ready to see. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, yeah, the Nicki Minaj remix. I mean, there's the whole thing around that. But
Yeah.
I think that because that's the word. That's the
Yes.
word of God.
Mhm.
And I believe that if we understand the kind of mind blowing, God is into the mind blowing business.
Yes.
And if you can fathom it, if you can think about it, if you can see it, if you can create it in your mind, God can do bigger.
He wouldn't have put it in your mind and your heart if it
Yeah.
wasn't for
And
you.
it's like, even with that, idea, that imagination of whatever it is, God can do bigger. And that's what the word says when he says exceedingly abundantly
Mm.
above all that you're able to ask. That's what he's able to do. So, and I talk about that in Covered
Yeah.
because I feel like it really is a challenge to us. It's like God is double daring us to think big, to ask something that we think it's absolutely impossible because he is able. He's more than able.
I love that. I think that for a while, and for some people, and I'll include myself in that, I don't know if anyone will agree with me. A lot of time, religion seems sad, and I hear
Mm,
joy when I listen to your music. I hear joy in the worship song,
mm,
and I think that if we remember that God loves us and created us to create, for us to have this purpose and to have, joy in our heart, like it doesn't have to be a punishment type of existence. Or a suffering type of existence. And I love that your
yes,
music
yes,
speaks in that way.
yeah, yeah. And I think that is so. It Yes, yes. I think it is so anti Christ to live in this kind of you know bummed out, just
Yes.
like defeated. They have busted and disgusted. Like that's not the Jesus that I serve. We're talking
No.
about King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He owns cattle on 1,000 hill, and I'm about to be sad and broke. And no, absolutely
No.
not. And it's not to say that those moments don't come,
Of
right? We're
course.
living in a real world and we experience real situations. So yes, those moments are going to come, but we can't live there. We
No.
can't live there. We can't
You
stay
can
there.
visit there and then wake
Yeah.
up. What
Yes.
Les Brown, one of my favorite motivational speakers, always say, if you fall up, it's okay. You can get back up. You fall
Yep.
down and get back up. And I think that
Yep.
that's key. And we're seeing a lot of people doing that. So with the pandemic that happened, obviously musicians weren't traveling as much, especially you being in New York. You were probably pretty hunkered down for quite a while.
Yes.
What are some things you're excited about in 2023 now that things are back opening? I know you were just on tour. So tell us about some of those experiences and how do you manage that with the kids?
Oh my God, managing with the kids is crazy. I say all the time, every time I say yes to something, I am inevitably saying no to something else.
Mhm.
So that balance act, and my kids are really good. They understand what it is that I'm trying to do. And I have a really great support system with my mom. And I have some friends that I can call on as well, but my mom is really like the backbone of it all. I can't go anywhere if she's not going to be around to help. So that I manage it with her, and just God's knowing when to say yes and when to say no. I'm super excited about the doors that have been opening. I spent some time doing some radio tours, even in the middle of the pandemic. Um, we had to be cautious. We had to be, use wisdom and all of that. I did a few showcases. I went to the Stellars. I did the red carpet, Crystal.
Yes, I know. I've been looking at all of your stuff.
Yeah, so I still got out there. Like I said, we operated in wisdom, but I
Mhm.
did not let this thing shut me down. And for the new year, I'm really excited to get into everybody's church.
Love that.
I just connected with a new booking manager, and that's what the goal is, to at least 2 to 3 Sundays a month to visit another church, to come in, and I have lots of merch. I got sweatshirts and
Yeah.
t-shirts and CDs and all that stuff. And I really just want to share the love of God through this music that he's deposited into me. And that I'm really, really looking forward to.
I love that. I'm making some notes. You have to send me your booking information because I know our church has been trying to bring music to we're in the Midwest to try to bring music to the Heartland. And we've had a couple
Yeah.
of artists. We had Dante Bowe come this summer and just trying to get some
Oh,
more,
nice.
yeah, some more music to bring people back. It's called Rev City, is Revealing Hearts and Revealing Christ. So, so yeah,
Love that. I love
yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
love it.
definitely hook your sister up.
I will.
I would love.
I'm gonna take the pastor of this magazine. Like, listen, you need to talk to her and her booking
Yes.
agent.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
love to. I would love to.
So, what would be your dream duet? I know that's kind of a weird question.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you, Kiara shared? Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Kiara shared, she is, I'm just everything. I feel like I am her, she is me.
Love it. Well, if she's listening, I'll make sure to tag her in this video.
Listen, Kiki, call your girl.
Say, hit her up, hit her up. Oh my goodness, that would be amazing. And you would have to let me come and see this show.
Yeah.
So what are your goals for this year? And I know you already talked about a word, but one of the things I asked my guests and one of the things that we're focusing on 2023 is what's your word for the year?
Mm. I am going to have to say the word is discipline.
Ooh, I like it.
Discipline. That's the word for the year. We talk about being disciples of Christ. We don't necessarily think about discipline, but that's the root of that. Being
Mhm.
a disciple means to be disciplined.
Yeah.
And it's in every area of my life. I think if I'm honest, I struggle with that, and I really have to hone in this year on discipline in my thought process, not allowing myself to go down these rabbit holes mentally of not being enough and comparing myself.
That
All of
imposter
that has to
syndrome.
stop.
Yeah.
Yes, it has to stop. So there's got to be intentionality towards this discipline. And I have been, putting certain things in front of my face in terms of God's word to kind of counteract some of those things. Discipline in my health,
Hmm.
to say, I stop saying you're gonna do this and do that. Girl, get up and walk. Get up and
Me and
get
you in
up
the
and
same
walk.
boat, girl.
Yes. Discipline in rest, because
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that we really neglect, because we're in a society that is constantly telling us, go, go, go and
Hmm.
get. If you're sitting down, you're lazy.
Yeah.
And
You're
there's
supposed to
certainly,
be busy. Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, we've got to be intentional, and we have to rest. There's got to be a recharge that we are intentional about. We have to care about this vessel that God has given to
Mhm.
us. So yeah, discipline is the word for the year for me.
I love that. And you mentioned my word for the year quite a few times. My word for the year is intentional.
Mm,
I'm going to be intentional in the things that I do that bring me joy
yeah,
because
yeah,
I want to be able to show through what the things that I choose to participate in, what I think God has put my purpose, which is to help
yes,
inspire, empower, and motivate other women. And that's why
yes,
we started
yes,
I started the magazine. And 4 years ago, we're going on to season 5, I'll call it, of the magazine, was because I just wanted to be able to tell people's story. I wanted them to be able to have a platform where you don't have to be the CEO or international. You could just be the woman on the journey that we can all learn from. And I feel like
yes.
I'm very thankful for your music. I'm thankful that you took the time to be interviewed in the magazine. I'm thankful to
Thank
know you,
you.
honestly. And I,
Thank you. And I'm thankful to know you too. I think this really, it is a blessing in this day and age. I think one of the things that COVID did to us was create these moments,
yes,
because we would always be out and wouldn't stop to do something like this. And
yes,
COVID has kind of opened this door where you and I may have never met each other before, But because
Exactly.
of this type of a platform, we have the ability to meet, to connect, to inspire each other, to glean from each other, learn from each other. And it definitely is an honor for sure.
Well, I'll tell you this, I want to borrow that dress you got. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I got somewhere to wear that too. You just let me know when you want to ship it. Thank you so much for being the guest.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to see what comes next for you. I will be following. You have a fan for life. I'm gonna talk to my church. You think I'm playing, but you send me the booking information.
Listen, even if you was playing, I'm coming for you.
Follow up, be disciplined and calling me in a month and say, did you talk to your church?
Yes, yes,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much. I appreciate
Yeah.
you. And like I said, it's an honor to know you.
Yes, same here. And for anyone that wants to follow,
Yes,
to know
please.
where I'll be next, my Instagram page is the one I update the most, Instagram and Facebook. My handle is the same on both, at Anisa Worships, ANISAWORSHIPS. And you can also go to my website, anisafowler.com.
Love it. And where would you like them to listen to your music?
You can anywhere that you
Okay.
currently download your digital music, if
Okay.
it's Amazon Music or iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to digital music, just type in Anisa Fowler and you'll get everything. And if you need a hard copy, hit me up on my Instagram
Cool.
or Facebook and I will definitely get you CDs.
Love it. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you
Thank
later.
you, Crystal.
Thanks for being a guest.
Bye.
This episode of Crystal Spot Podcast is brought to you by Crystal Spot Mag.